Well, hey,
Hey, y'all.
y'all, hey. For all y'all who will come on replay, make sure you type replay, right? Let us know that you have
Mhm.
come on the replay, and we will respond to any of your comments. We take this time to, as we pour it out, we said I said session, last time. What was it? Last week. Yeah, last week. We talked about it seemed like so much longer. I don't know why. But we talked about this being a safe space. And so we welcome your comments, your thoughts. This to be a place where you want to pour it out as well with us. So we'll be doing the talking mainly, but if you want to leave some comments, we definitely welcome that. And this is just a time where we pour it out over a drink of something. And today I have my I'm not giving them no credit. I have my water. If they want to sponsor, they can.
Yeah.
I have my water and she has
Water.
water. Yeah.
Hmm.
So it's one of those days, we just this is poured out. If you all haven't been on the segment before, we just are two friends who talk about whatever, candid conversation. I would say there's nothing off topic, nothing that can't be a topic. Let's say that.
Hmm. I agree.
Okay. So, how you want to start?
Oh,
Oh, I guess we got to introduce ourselves every time. Yes. Yes.
we do.
Yeah, well, because new people are going to come on.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. You're
So
right.
I'm Tony Lattimore. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. Rewind. Rewind. Introducing myself, not what I do. I am Tony Denise Lattimore. Um, I'm a servant of God.
Hmm.
I'm gonna leave it at that. And that entails a whole lot, but ultimately that is my goal to be the best servant I can be. And at the end of 2023 and 2024, that really became a thing for me to just serve. And however he calls me to serve, that's what I'll be doing. So that's who I am. You don't need to know about what I do unless you want to know. Then you can ask. But other than that, that's who I am.
I'm Sheonta Bailey. Let's see. Today, who am I today? Let's just.
Oh, you reminded me of something. Um, I was looking at Shawnee O'Neal. Shawnee Henderson.
Yeah,
What's her name? Is it
yeah,
Henderson?
yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause her husband is Keon, right? Is it Keon?
Yes.
How you say it? Okay.
Just before we got on here. And so she has a new book coming out.
Oh,
And she talked about she's really private in the past. Has been private, right? But she's
okay.
in the book gonna really just disclose some things. And you said, "Who am I today?" Because that's what she was like. You're gonna see the many Shawnees. So that's what
Yeah,
that. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
So Sheonta, not Shawnee, is today I'm a cook. We're in the kitchen area today. So if y'all see me getting up and walking around, I'm trying to make sure my food is not burning up. That's one of the many jobs I would say of being a wife and a mom. And I'm not saying that this is what you have to do, I guess, as a wife or a mom, but it's just something that I take pride in, and that's cooking for my family. So I do this pretty much every night. I cook dinner. I cook something. My family does not like leftovers,
Hmm.
so I am constantly in the kitchen. It's just become a part of my schedule at night. Like, okay, what am I cooking tonight? What am I? I have a whole routine around it. I go to I drop the girls off. I go to the grocery store in the mornings, or if I work, I go to the grocery store when I get off of work. It's a whole
Mm.
thing.
Is that does that get overwhelming sometimes, or because you've put it into your schedule, it's just what you do?
I think before I put it into my schedule, it was definitely overwhelming. I like dreaded the fact that I had to come home and cook.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But then once it became a part of like something that I needed to do, almost, I thought about it that way, and then I carved out time for it. I think that was the thing.
Okay.
Overwhelming when I didn't think I had time for it, and then it seemed like a burden.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now I get really interested. I'm always on Instagram now, looking up different recipes, different things I can try, because I just get really interested in what I can do. Like what can I surprise them with today?
Oh, so you have fun with it, sounds like.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
But that's not all, and it's crazy because I don't know when that switched.
I think when you carved out time for it.
Yeah, but it just, how some stuff is like you're counting down the days when you're gonna like feel better and enjoy it. I
Mm-hmm.
don't remember having that feeling about cooking. I just switched that mind into it.
Mm-hmm.
I made the time, and then the next thing you know, it's just something that I don't even know what I would do if I didn't cook at this time of night.
I mean, that's big what you just said, because that can be applied to other things in your life, right? You just wrapped your mind around it. This is what
Mhm.
I'm doing. And now I do it and wouldn't know what I would do. That's kind of like I feel like with the gym.
Girl, I was just about to say, I think, oh, go ahead, because we got a chance to have to talk about that too.
What? Yeah, like the gym, it's just it has its own set time, period. Like I'm going to the gym, so it has its time. In the beginning, it was kind of tough because of course starting anything is like it can be, overwhelming. It can be, where do I fit this in? How do I build this in my schedule? And now it has its place.
Yeah.
And yeah, I see how, and I'm
Sorry.
like where I wouldn't know what to do without, not what to do without it, but I look forward to it.
Yeah. I'm sorry. My dogs are. Oh,
Oh, I
you didn't
mean,
hear him? I'm
I
sorry.
it, but it's a part of life, right? We real life in
We
here.
are.
Mm-hmm.
And what I was going to say about the gym is that, I just started on my gym journey.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for me, the gym has been one of those things that I never thought that I would repetitively do. Like it's always been something that I've said, okay, I'm going to do the gym. I'm going to do the gym. I'm going to do the gym. My husband is like, we need to start going to the gym. We need to start going to the gym. And then the last time I got on that scale, I said, it's time to go to the gym.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now we started last week, and we have been going every morning, getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning
Oh wow.
and not leaving until about 5:45. We get there about 5:30, 4:30,
Mm-hmm.
and then we leave about 5:45ish. We
Okay.
do I do the elliptical, I do the treadmill, I do weights. So it's become, that's another thing that when I first started, I was like, oh my God, the gym. Please don't make me go to the gym.
Right.
I don't want to go. I don't want to get up.
Right.
But
But
now
your
I'm used
body
to
is
it.
accustomed to it. Yeah.
It's accustomed to it. Yeah, it's accustomed to it. And I didn't like, I'm surprised that I got accustomed to it that quickly. I wasn't thinking that I would get used to it that fast, that quick. I didn't think that that would be something that I would really enjoy.
Oh, okay.
But now I'm waking up. Before an alarm goes off, I'm waking up at 4 o'clock and I'm getting myself ready. I'm getting my clothes on. I'm thinking, oh, do you have that? Do you have shapewear? Do you wear shape? What do you wear to the gym?
Um, leggings, uh, full body suit. Depends on the season.
That shapewear, that's the full body suit, right? The shape. Because I think we're talking about the same thing where it's like, it's completely, um,
Oh, like it is it sweat? Is it for sweating? It helps you to sweat.
well, it's black and it's like a undergarment almost, but it's not. It's not. It's like it looks like leggings, and then it has like a t-shirt at the top. Like a not a t-shirt, but a tank. It's like a tank top
Oh
at the
yeah, yeah,
bottom,
yeah.
but it's a onesie.
That's well, I don't have the onesie one. I just
Hmm.
have mine goes to my waist. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, mine is for like so it's not shapewear. It is for like it helps you to burn in those areas. So
Oh, okay.
I started wearing it, it was I had a whole lot of hangover, like what they call them, love handles, right?
Yeah.
And once I started to wear them and combined with eating right, then my love handles are pretty much gone. But that is a big piece of being able to lose and burn in my stomach like area.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm at a place that I'm trying to now figure out what kind of stuff do I want to wear to the gym, what benefits me the most in the gym. Just because when that becomes a part of your life, then you gotta wear clothes that accommodate that.
Oh yeah, 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 and gym shoes. What one?
Yeah.
I can't wear every gym shoe to the gym. Depends on the day. Leg day, I need a certain type of gym shoe because I know I got to do the leg press, which means my feet gonna have to be pushed up against something. So the shoes got to be right to fit that. It's just it's a whole thing. Yeah.
It is.
Hmm.
It is. And I thought I was really going to dread getting up that early in the morning, but I actually am glad that we get up that early in the morning because when we're done, we're done. Like that part of our day is complete.
Hmm.
We read Bible study together in the car on the way
Hmm.
home. So
Hmm.
I just feel like a big chunk. I read while I'm working out. I have
Hmm.
audiobooks, so I'm following the words as it's reading to me.
Hmm.
Well, I have a Kindle, I guess, and then I buy the narration is what I do. And so I'm reading and following along while I'm like on the elliptical and doing all that stuff. So by the time I come out of the gym, I feel like a big chunk of my day is done.
Yeah, because you paired some things together to be able to have your rest of your day free.
That's what the book is that we're reading is about, Atomic Habits right now.
Oh, I read that one. Yeah, yeah. Sometimes chunking things together. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Hmm.
And you add like after I do this, I'm going to do this. And you're combining things and you're accomplishing more without feeling overwhelmed because it's usually something that you have to do anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm really enjoying this new. I don't even think that we knew that we was gonna go this hard in the new year.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm enjoying it. I didn't think I would, but I'm grateful that I am because I've done it in the past and it's been like pulling teeth and I've been in so much pain and I don't know. I guess I'm just taking it slower this time. I'm not in the gym just trying to like lift 100 pounds and all that. Like if I'm doing 20 today, that's what I'm doing and I'm okay with that.
Hmm. Yeah. So probably looking at the scale, and wanting to be at a different space, you got some motivators there.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, hey, I need to do this.
Mm-hmm. Eating better. I've cut all the sugar out for right now. I won't say like,
I think that's Prime, Amazon.
are they coming with
I,
your
I
stuff?
think so. I heard the doo doo. You know how they back up.
Yeah.
Hmm. Well,
Um,
next week.
yeah, you'll have it. You'll have
Hmm.
it. Yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, I just really want to get to a place that I am growing and developing as I should. I think we both are there
Hmm.
because we participated in something this week.
Yeah, 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 yeah. You got to fill me in on the last day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that I'm mad that I wasn't there, but I was there for the other. So.
Yes.
Hmm.
So we participated in a best year ever summit. It was 3 days, and every single day just kind of, I would definitely say it was like an onion, and it just kept pulling layers
Hmm.
until you got to a point of saying, I need to do something about this.
Hmm.
And so I really am grateful to have had that opportunity to be a part of that. Whenever my pastor does things like that, I try to get in on it. First of all, it's free. Second of all, it's helpful.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, and I was happy because this time, usually I do it by myself, which is fine. But James is like, no, I'm doing it. And he did it with me.
Okay.
So we were able to kind of sit down and contemplate some things that we needed to really work on and change and grow and develop.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this season is wow, Tony. Like when this year came in, I promise you, because we was on the cruise and we came back and I was like, I'm not ready for 2024. I'm just not ready. That's how I felt.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, and I talked to my therapist about it because it's not something that I usually do. I usually come into the year like ready to go, and like we got to do this. And to be honest with you, I felt very defeated. When
Mm-hmm.
the year started, I felt very defeated. I felt very behind. I felt like the year had already gotten the best of me. Um, and I'm glad I talked about that because I think that me talking about it actually encouraged me to fight that off.
Mm-hmm.
It encouraged me to say, Sheonta, you can, I know that that's maybe what you feel, but that doesn't have to be what it is.
Right. Right. But also you acknowledged it, which
Mm-hmm.
one of the things we talked about on day 2 in the best year ever, right? That was
Yes.
about there, acknowledging it. I found that's one thing I've been doing a lot lately is acknowledging things. And I didn't realize how much that helps, right? Because it like exposes it. Once I
Yeah.
acknowledge instead of just acting like, no, it's not there, right? Well, it's there.
It's there. Oh
You know,
yeah, it's there.
yeah. It's like trying to mask it, trying not to deal with it. So I'm not gonna acknowledge it. But when you acknowledge it, it just makes it just is like a release. So yeah, you can acknowledge that that's where I'm at right now, but I'm not gonna stay there, you know.
Isn't it? So it's almost like an open confession.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's how I look at it. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think before I used to be afraid to do that because of the shame that can sometimes come with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm reminded of Genesis when God went to Adam and Eve and asked them where were they? And when they started getting down into it, even though they made excuses, they started to address what had happened with God, and He covered them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what He does with us. If we could just bring it and acknowledge it, it don't have to be right. It could be real dirty. It could be real messy. But
Mm-hmm.
can you start to talk about it?
Mm-hmm. Almost like therapy, right? It's very I never looked at that parallel. Yeah, it's very much like that. If there's no healing if you don't reveal it, right? No revealing, no healing.
I
So
get
you have to let it out, and it can be tough. It can be a topic that you don't feel comfortable with sharing, but those are the ones you need to share. Yep, and acknowledge and really process and talk about it at your own pace. But
mm,
that's where the healing is going to come from. If you never talk about it, it's going to stay there.
I agree. And it's sad because one thing that I think happens to a lot of people is that their voice is taken away from them
Mm-hmm.
in like abusive situations and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Your voice is taken away.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a voice, then you can't talk about it and you can't move past it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's why some of these things we've been taught, like what goes on in this house stays in this house,
No,
so hurtful to just to anybody who does that, right? To any family
right.
who does that, because you're trying to cover over something instead of actually deal with it. And without dealing with it, it's going to keep on growing. It's going to keep on going through the generational cycles because nobody's dealing with it. Nobody's addressing it.
And then the first time, what I'm also learning is that the first time that someone is brave enough to address it, then now something's wrong with them.
Oh yeah. Well, it's like they're made to feel guilty, right? They're made to feel like it's their fault instead of
Yes.
looking at the real root of what happened. And they're most times the victim, right? The one who it happened to, and then they are shamed or made or outcast.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's
And
crazy.
then and then when that happens, I'm sorry, I'm moving so I can be in a little bit more of a quiet space. And then when that happens, I think that almost makes that person shut down.
Hmm.
It makes them shut down. It doesn't make them feel like they are. It almost makes you feel crazy.
Well, you know what that is, right?
What is it? Tell me.
Status quo bias. You want to stay in the same. Nobody wants to really be on the outskirts of. You want to be in the crowd, right? People
Yeah.
want, oh, I want to associate and be in the crowd. But that's a separation. When you decide, hey, I'm gonna deal with my stuff, and I know I'm gonna have to deal with probably some people who don't want to be around me or whatever. That's a whole separation. That's that status quo bias where you have to separate yourself to grow. And so you can feel lonely, you can feel like judged. It's a whole lot of things, right? Guilty. It's a whole lot of things, but you stepped out of that crowd to do something right.
And but okay, you do that, and I don't think a lot of people talk about how hard that is, though.
Mm, no, they don't. But
Yeah.
it's almost, yeah. So I think back to when I got kicked out of the Jehovah's Witness faith, right? By me going to talk to the elders. So I could have did what my sister did and not talk to them.
Right.
And just remained where everybody can still talk to me. I wouldn't be isolated. That's what it is. It's like an isolation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's difficult. So had I known, I would have probably did what she did because it's so hard. It's
Mhm.
hard to have parents who can't talk to you because of a religion. So it's like a lot of things that I think about now. If I would have known, and that's where God comes in because I know that this was all on purpose. If I would have known, nah, I wouldn't have did it.
Done it.
Mm-mm, absolutely not, because of the fact that people don't talk about it, and I didn't know exactly what came with it. So of course, would I have tried to avoid that? Yeah, because who wants to be isolated? Who wants to
Who
feel
wants to be isolated?
they're in this world all by themselves?
But why do we do that? Why do we, when someone decides to be brave enough, because it is true, it's an act of courage and bravery. When someone chooses to say, I'm going against the grain here,
Hmm.
and I'm going to step out here and I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. Why do we do that to people? Why do we shut down on them? Why do we, because I had a similar situation happen to where first I did it and then I ended up having it done to me. And it's crazy because it's another church situation,
Mm.
to where it was like a couple decided it was some things that happened in the church and they ended up leaving the church. And when they left the church, we were all called in for a meeting. And in that meeting, we were basically told, not basically, we were told not to talk to them anymore, to like delete them off our social media,
Wait, the whole church
just the leaders in the church.
to not talk to them?
Hmm.
See, I mean that sounds very cultish, like the Jehovah's Witness faith. Because how can you tell somebody you're grown? Can't you make that decision on your own?
But it was almost like they passed a picture around of them when they first started coming to our church and was like, look at how they looked when they first came here. And look how they look now, and they would not be here if it wasn't for us. So they really made you feel very afraid to say anything, because it's like, oh my God, what are they going to do if I decide to speak out? You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so
You already knew what was going to happen.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody, they were like, do y'all have any questions? And everybody was like, no, not after
Well,
that.
yeah, pretty much. I'm not going to ask a question, even if I did have a question.
But where does that type of teaching even? I'm having trouble answering. Does that type of teaching come from the church, or does it come from the home? Like, did you learn? Because I've had it happen even in my family, to
What
where,
type of teaching to kind of jump on board with
well,
what?
both, like the teaching of, you better not associate yourself with this person, and talking down to that person, and almost making that, making you feel like you need to separate yourself from that person because that person is wrong, not you. And then also being the one that's like, oh, okay, yeah, I get it, I'm not, like, is that family, or like, do you learn that in your family? Like, how did he learn, the pastor at the time, learn to even do that?
Oh, I think that was passed down from congregate, religious ways of thinking,
Hmm.
and that was passed down, or what he witnessed, what he experienced.
So I think it could be a combination. Like, I think, like you're saying, I think that is the church for sure. That particular, not church big C, but just church little c. That particular religion, and practices, those practices, which is a mindset, you know. And I also think that it was something that he may have endured or witnessed in his home, which made it like doubly okay, you know. I think that that's just because, like I said, I've had it on both sides. I've had it happen to me in my family, and I've had it happen to me in the church.
Oh, outcast you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. For not doing something how you want it done,
Yeah.
how they want it done, per se.
Mm-hmm. And then that's control, right? So it could be some type of control issue as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And so I think what happens is, I think it's something down, like we're saying, it's a generational cycle that's taught. And then you go around you, and then when you have that kind of closed off mindset, you attract people that also believe that same kind of thing, or also have learned that way. And so then you end up like in churches and places like that, where that's also supported, that type of mindset is supported.
Mm-hmm.
And so then you don't only just do it at home, but you do it at church too. So now you definitely don't think that you're wrong.
Mm-hmm. Or just people who are controlled, able to be controlled, just don't really have their own value system set in stone. So it's like they're easily manipulated, right? I could go that way. Yeah, that sounds right. Okay, this is what y'all do. Okay, you know. Uh-oh.
Are you there?
Oh,
There you
yeah.
go.
Okay. You were frozen.
You were frozen.
Oh,
And then
wow.
it went
Okay.
black.
It went black?
Yeah.
Wow.
It
Okay.
was weird.
Yeah, because I thought you were just sitting there listening at first. Like now, are you frozen? You look frozen on the screen.
You there?
Yeah. Did it do it again? Because you were
Yeah.
frozen again. Wow.
It completely went black on your, because at first you were like freezing, and then it just all went black. So I'm not sure what happened.
Okay. Um, yeah, I was just talking about can be easily manipulated, who don't have their own values, that are secure in their own values.
So how do you know the difference between controlling somebody, right? And just especially in parenting, because I think that especially because that happened to me both in the church and in my home,
Mm-hmm.
I struggle with how far to go with my daughter. Like, when is it me being controlling, and when is it just me being a parent?
Well, controlling is you got to do what I say. There's no autonomy there, no input. It is, this is what we have decided to do. This is what we have decided for you, and this is what you're going to do.
Yeah.
To me, I guess in a sense, that could be parenting as well, structured parenting, because
Right.
may have to make a choice. You may have to say, hey, no, you're not going to date at 11 years old or whatever, and so, but still, I think it's allowing for input. If it's not allowing for any type of input, then I think that that can be quite controlling.
So even if your child is 11 years old, and
Oh, it's breaking up.
hold on, let me see if my, that's weird. It was doing fine. Okay.
Okay. It keeps freezing.
Okay. All right. I think we're good now.
Okay. So you were saying if your child or something.
Yeah, so that's pretty much what's going on now with me. Like, I have an 11-year-old, and she's in this phase to where she wants to like date, and we're like, no, you're way too young for
Mm.
that. What does that even mean? You
How
know,
did I pick that up? Because I had no clue that that's what it was.
I don't even know. Like, you just said it, and I was like, oh
I,
well, let's just go there.
I had no clue because I wouldn't even think. I guess the world is different now. Dating at 11, like I would
Yep.
have never. I don't even know where that came from because I wouldn't even have thought at 11 years old somebody's trying to date.
Oh yeah, like it's a whole thing. I mean, I can remember being in sixth grade and having my little quote unquote boyfriend, but I wasn't bold enough to like go to my mom and be like, I got a boyfriend. Like, da, 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 da.
Mm,
And then it was real different then because I didn't have a cell phone. So I
yeah.
only snuck around and seen him at school.
Hmm.
It wasn't real. Like, now you really got to be careful because they have cell phones. And not only can they talk all the time, but they can look up things that they want to do with each other and all these things. And so you really have to be careful.
Mm.
And so, like, my husband, of course, is like, absolutely not. And she decided to get a little boyfriend anyway. So now my husband is struggling. James is struggling. I'm like, my husband, y'all know James.
Mm-mm.
James is struggling because he's like, I told you not to do it.
So what's the question?
So I was saying, even in a situation like that, you're saying that input is, we should figure out a way to welcome input. Like, we understand, we have told you our stance, but what is your stance, kind of thing.
I would say the final decision comes down to y'all because you are the parents, right? You have to, at this stage of her life, you have to make a choice, a decision for her. She
Yeah.
can make the final decision, but I would open up the space for her to talk about, okay, why do you want a boyfriend? Why do you think you need, why do you want to date? What do you think you're missing? Just having the conversation with her.
Mm-hmm.
Now, can you do it? Not in this house, right? Our rules are we don't allow dating at 11. Um, I don't know. And then maybe there could be some room for negotiation, right? Maybe, we don't mind if we took you all on a date with us. Or,
Mm-hmm.
you allow for room. But the controlling piece to me is just a flat out no, no, and we're not talking about it.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
That's how I see it. you know, I won't say I did that, but I'm much wiser now. I don't have my own children. I can look at it differently.
No, you're opening my eyes, because that was one thing that I think that I've struggled with. That's, I'm telling you, the most. Just after coming out of that, because I do believe that a lot of my trauma is around that control.
Okay.
Just being very afraid to stand up for myself, because if I stand up for myself, then, we talked about it, the ostracization and the abandonment and all those things are
Mm.
always in your head. That fear is always there,
Yeah.
because that's the result of any kind of controlling relationship, to make you feel alone.
Hmm.
Like, and make you feel like if you don't do what you're supposed to do right, then you will be by yourself.
Right.
And who wants to be by themselves? That rejection and abandonment, like, those are hard things. Rejection, fear of rejection, and fear of abandonment are like at the top of my list.
Hmm. Yeah. Mine is, I would say, mine probably is rejection, then abandonment. I don't know, because they both
Mhm.
run kind of neck and neck, They're
Yeah.
both, and then when I think about what the Jehovah's Witnesses did, they clearly, this was on purpose. This is a law that they have. This is one of their laws, that if you do this, then this happens, right? And so that's when the person needs you the most. If they have made
Yes.
this mistake or done whatever it is, why would you ostracize them? Why would you keep them away from other people? But their thoughts are, you're going to contaminate the whole uh, congregation. One apple will spoil the bunch. That's their thought.
If we let you in, then it's almost like we're saying,
Everybody else can do it. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
But I think there's a difference between a mistake and sin.
Well, I mean, I did sin.
But what I'm saying is, if they would have handled it the right way, because sometimes, especially in our age, we may be sinning, but we still, if someone would talk to you the right way, it will help you repent, than to keep doing it over and over and over again. And I think as you get older, when you know better, and you just, like, you just rebellious, you don't care. I think that that's when you have to kind of like cut ties with people. But when someone is young, or even not even age wise, but in the head, like with a certain thing, like they're very green to it, I guess, to where you don't really know, you're naive. And so someone just really needs to give you some, they need to school you, you need some mentorship, things like that. And then the next thing you
Mhm.
know, you're a totally different person, just because somebody took the time out
Yep.
to, like, show you something different,
You just
now.
put them out like
Yeah.
they have. And the other thing that needs to be considered, to me, for my situation, was the parenting that I had. So the upbringing. So it's a lot to that. You're just looking at or they were just looking at what I did.
Yeah.
That what I did was a symptom of.
Right.
And they didn't take that into consideration or even ask, or, it just was what it was. It just, if you do this, then this is what happened. I mean, it's not that cut and dry.
It is not. And I definitely think, I'm even thinking of the scripture of suffer the little children and forbid them not, because such is the kingdom of heaven.
Mhm.
And I think that scripture was pretty much saying, like, because they were shooing the kids away. And a lot of times I think we, in our childlike state, when we make mistakes, we're shooed away.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. That's
We're
all
not,
that what we're
yeah,
talking about right now. That's what
yeah,
happened, right?
yeah,
Instead of, and you're shooed away, and shooed away from everyone, even
yeah,
the kids that you were around. They'll tell
yeah.
you, don't be around them because they this, and that, right? And so then you're isolated. Then they wonder why you grow up and you have even more issues. Well,
Because it wasn't dealt with in the beginning. Now, when you get older, I really do think that you have to start doing your own self work to kind of walk it back.
mhm, mhm,
It becomes more of your responsibility. I'm not saying that it still is not painful to you, and that it's not, I'm not trying to like downplay when you get older, like whatever, you should be big enough to no. But what I'm saying is, I think that as you get older, the responsibility to take care of that
Mm-hmm.
falls more on you. But if you're a child, and when I say child, I'm talking about anywhere from birth until 25 at least, I still consider that a child.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You
because
know,
the prefrontal cortex doesn't develop fully until 23.
that's what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
So shoot, we could even probably push it back to 27 because
We
with
could
men,
probably push it for the whole 20s. Let's say that for real.
yes,
Like, 'cause
yes,
them 20s, those are rough. Like, you're really trying to find your way. You're trying to figure out who you are. You're going to make a lot of mistakes, period. It just is. It's, if you look at the life cycle, the 20s are where you make your biggest eras, right? Like, 20s and adolescence. That's what the Bible talks about, right? An adolescent, I can't remember exactly what it say, but they are some of the hardest things to tame. Some of them proverbs, right? About an adolescent. That is one of the most difficult from that all the way up to your 20s, the end of your 20s, even early 30s. You're still kind of, navigating that thing. But, and to not consider that, that's my thing. Like, you just look at whatever was done. Yes, was it a sin? Yeah, but hey, bro, while you talking to me, look at yourself.
I I'm so
You
glad you
grown.
yeah, I'm so glad you said that. Like, let's just rewind it for 1 second because I'm so glad you said. I just literally again had this conversation with my counselor about why is it. I just told because I'm 37 now. I'll be 38 in October, and I told her I feel like the light bulb to my life didn't even start to flicker until I was probably 33.
There you go. But you said that. We talked about that. Jesus was 33 when he started the ministry, right? His ministry.
So he knew all the way from 12 what he was supposed to do.
Yeah.
But he didn't even start walking in that until he was 33 and a half years old. And so I remember, like, I will always remember 33 because that's when it hit Jesus, and it just so happened to hit me. And so I was telling her
And so many.
what's so crazy is how nobody ever talks about that. You
Mhm.
don't hear people talking about, really, to be honest with you, you probably shouldn't get married until you're like 35 or older. You probably shouldn't
Facts.
even try to start having kids until you're probably
Facts.
36, 37.
Because you
Like,
don't even know yourself. How you
no.
going to take care of a child and you're a child? You may not think you're a child because we all think we're grown, right? In our 20s. Oh, I'm 21. I'm grown. Now, whoever made that really like the thing to say at 21, you can vote, all this and that. No, 18, whatever.
But you
But
could drink at
21,
21. You could do, yeah.
you're grown. You can do all these things, but you make stupid decisions. Let's call it what it is. It's
It is.
so many. I mean, you still need guidance.
I,
Which I'm, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I'm looking at, me and my husband been talking about, like, why in the Black communities we be so quick to put our kids out.
I was just about to say that. I
Oh,
was literally just about, that's what I was about to say.
yeah.
Like, I just was about to, this was what I was going to say. My daughter's 11 now. No, my daughter's not 11. My daughter's 12. What am I talking about?
Oh, I thought she was 13, but
She'll be
okay.
13 in November.
Okay.
So my daughter's 12. And just the thought of her moving out in what, like 6 years, it like gives me the heebie-jeebies. Like, I just can't even. So if my daughter needs to stay with us until she's out of her 20s, do it. I'm okay. Even if you have to go to school, if you want to go to school in California,
Mhm.
we will move to California. You can stay with us. You don't have to move on campus unless you want to, but we're still going to be close enough to where we can be your safety net.
And God.
And yeah, and your guidance. And so we're going to be there for you. That is I feel like that's just our job as her parents. Like, and I know that's kind of controversial because they say, oh, well, that's the time. The college is the time when they explore and they find it. So you're not ready. And
Yeah.
I'm really trying to figure out why is it that they even make you make those kind of decisions? What you
Early.
all these
You don't have a clue. That's why so many people get into so much debt and they're bouncing from, oh, I thought I wanted to do this. Now I'm changing my whole what I'm
career.
yeah, it's like you you're going to college at 18, straight out of I mean, I graduated at 17. So just think if I would have the best thing that happened to me was me going to college late because I got a chance to get all this stupid stuff out of my life, right? Explore and do all this stuff. And yeah, was it difficult because I didn't have a career? Yeah. But at the same time, at least I knew what my career choice was when I went.
Well, do you think it would have been as difficult if you would have had a support system?
Um, I think me, you should know, I want to try a million and one things. Would it have been as difficult? Yes. At 18, 19, 20, 21. Yes. Because I'm the type that wants to try everything.
But what I'm saying is, you were saying it was difficult because you were out there and you didn't have a career. You know what I'm saying? And you were trying to figure it out.
Oh,
And
if I had
if you
support
would
of
have had
parents,
support, would it? Yeah.
if so for me, if I would have had support of my parents would have been what I would have needed was wisdom, right? To be
Yeah.
able to talk to me. But I didn't have, you know, yes, if I had those type of parents who really I could go to and share me with, and they would share with me them, no, I don't think it would have been, of course not. I think it would have helped me a whole lot. Um, but yeah, I didn't have that. So it was very difficult, trying to figure out I had to figure life out on my own.
But I mean, the society is telling you that you can figure it out on your own. Society
Well, that's
says
what
18, you're grown,
yeah.
and then at 18, you because I remember telling my mom like when I'm 18, I'm out. Like
Yeah.
I just had that in my head, and it's so wrong.
Yeah. I agree. And I'm glad that you know that, you know, because you still have time to be able to y'all can implement if you want to move, if she wants to go here or there. You don't hear that often, especially in our culture at all. It's like when you get 18, you're grown. You gotta get out here. And you're really just throwing them to the wolves because they don't know.
They
They don't
don't.
know.
They don't
And
know.
so yeah, that's one thing that we talk about that we did and we could have done differently, in child rearing.
But I think that's just a major thing. That's not just you all. That's like globally. It's just that. Well, I won't even say globally. Definitely a United States thing. you
Mhm.
know, to where 18, like we're saying, you're grown, you're on your own. Like it wasn't you all as just parents that said, oh, well, when you get, it's almost like society, and even not even that, the rush to get married, the rush. I remember when I was in that age range, it was like, oh my gosh, I got to be married by 25. I got to have a babies and whatever. But I remember when I told James, I'm ready to be done having kids by the time I'm 30.
Mm. Mhm.
And where did I even get that concept from? You
Uh,
know,
it's what society says a lot of times. Have the kids early. You get married, you have a baby.
and that is we talk about that. So we were so not ready. We're
Hmm.
grateful for our daughter for sure, but we were so not ready.
Hmm.
We
Yep.
needed, especially with us being. It's one thing to get married young. It's a whole nother situation to have a baby young.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
And I don't think I was as young as you could be. Of course, I was 25 when I had her. But just me, I was not ready. I told him, I think when I was 34, I said, you know what? I feel like I'm just not ready to have a baby. For real, for real.
Well, think about that. That makes sense, right? Like if we're talking about 33 is where you really recognize yourself and recognize where you want to go in life and all of it starts to come together, that makes sense. About 34, yeah, I'm ready now. I'm stable.
I
Because
got, you
to
know,
that, it's instability. Well, for me, it was a lot
yeah.
of instability, and so how can I bring somebody in? And I was pregnant at 20
Mm-hmm.
and didn't have parents to, help me or even guide me or share how do I raise this child? Mm-mm.
And I think that 5 years later, let me tell you, it was no different. Like me, you getting pregnant at 20 and me getting pregnant at 25, I still
Mhm.
was just so overwhelmed and just, but at that time, you almost feel like this is fine. It's okay to be nervous. It's okay. But I'm telling you, if I would have known that this moment was gonna come where I actually felt ready
Mhm.
and didn't just think that ready is when the baby comes out and now we got to do it all. No, like you
Right.
really do come to a point in life where you feel ready.
Yeah.
You don't have to force it. You don't have to think that it's gonna come or no. I think as a matter of fact, I didn't think it ever was gonna come. I never thought that I would be ready to have kids. I never thought that I'd be ready to be married. And so when James came along and we clicked, it was just like, oh, I gotta get married. I gotta prove to everybody that I'm not gonna be the statistic. I'm not gonna be the one that gets pregnant before I have get married and all these things. I just had all these thoughts in my head.
Mhm. Yeah. Society. A lot of it is what we see. I think it's changing now though. Like, you know, social media, on TV, it's changing now because a lot of people aren't getting married. They
I
just
was
not,
about to say, yeah.
they not you it was a time when you would hear about the summertime. That's all you would hear and get invited to
Wedding,
wedding.
wedding, wedding. Hmm.
Now, you know what you're getting invited to? Baby showers. They make
Baby
clothes
shower.
like the weddings. They paying all this money to have these baby showers. And I'm like, why are you spending all this money? Because they probably will never get married.
Gender reveals. All
Yeah. Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
You get. I mean, my news feed and timeline is just full of gender reveals. And it's like at this point, I remember when I grew up, my grandma didn't have no problem asking you married? When
Mm-hmm.
she ran into somebody that was pregnant, like it was like the thing to do. You better not ask that these days.
Mm-hmm. Stop. Sit down.
Like what do you mean? You better just know that the baby is coming.
Yeah.
And these are people that are well in their 30s and they're fine with it. And I'm not saying that. I really just feel like you should live your life. I just like it was a young lady that grew up with me. She's probably about she's in her 20s now. And she posted on Facebook. She was like, does anybody have anybody that's beyond 30? What advice can you give to me in my 20s? And
Mm-hmm.
I told her, I said, just live your life and don't worry about right now is not the time to be trying to figure it out. Just live it.
Mm-hmm.
Just live it.
Yeah. Yeah. But remember when you were in your 20s? What does that mean though? Like, if you heard that from somebody, because you now know at 37 what that means. But in your 20s, you really don't know what there's no concept of that to me when I
Mhm.
think about that. If somebody said, just live your life, okay, what do you mean? Because in your 20s, everything is fast. I want to do this, I want to do that, da 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 da, right? And so in your 30s, it starts to slow down. You start to see, okay, let me take my time and process this. 20s, that's not a thing. That's not even a thing.
I think for me, if someone it was like, well, she asked me, what do you mean? Like clarify. I would say the things that you're afraid that you're going to be judged about, just do it. Just do it.
Oh.
That's what I would say. Like just live because it's gonna come a point in life to where all that stuff that you did, you're gonna look yourself in the mirror and figure it all out. Like it's gonna be a point. So if it's something that you want to try, do. You want to get a tattoo, you want to get a nose ring, you want to, all these, do it.
And I guess my words of wisdom would be just remember what you are doing now, you're going to relive in your 30s.
That's what I'm saying. It's gonna hit you. So
Yeah.
whatever you do now, you're gonna have to answer to it. You're gonna see it. And so whatever you don't want to have to revisit and
Yeah.
relive with,
Mm-hmm.
don't do it in your 20s. But outside, because you're gonna end up being the person that has to look in the mirror, your own judge. You're gonna stand there and have to answer to those things.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you don't want to do that, then don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's what I would say. But don't be afraid about what somebody else is going to say, because they're not your judge.
Yeah. But that's so hard because if we think of, I keep going back to like the life cycles, it is identity. It's like learning your identity, right? And
Mm,
so you are thinking, what is somebody else going to say? That's just in that
yeah.
life cycle. It's just hard to say, I don't care. I'm not going to care about what nobody say. Mm.
Because you're very close still to your parents' home.
Mm-hmm.
You're still in the 20s. You literally just left your parents' home.
Mm-hmm.
The
Well,
30s,
some
you've
people.
been out for a while. You've been out, typically,
Yeah.
um, this is your first big move away from them. But a lot of times in your 20s, you're still very dependent on your parents.
Mm-hmm.
And so you still have to be respectful. And I get that. If my daughter, stayed home with us, it still would be rules and stuff that she would have to follow. And
Yeah.
I'm sure, like that would be, a hard thing for me to even tell her, like, just live, Kaden. But, at the end of the day, I just know where I am now. And I do wish I would have done a little bit more living and not been so caught up in, oh my God, I gotta do this and I gotta do that. And if I don't do this, what are they gonna say? And if they don't, all these things.
Well, and that's how you feel because, yeah, I mean, that's what you're feeling. Now, I was the opposite.
You lived, and I think that's, so you lived,
But
you, yeah,
yeah, but it wasn't okay. We both did what we did because it is a part of our life journey. Okay, let's say that, right?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
But I lived hard. I lived hard, and if I had, as you asked earlier, that support, I think it's a lot of things I wouldn't have had to live because
yeah.
I had to raise myself. So I had to do trial and error. So I did a lot of stuff that I shouldn't have did.
I just love though that, man. What I love about you though is that if you look in the mirror at your 20-year-old self and you look at yourself now in your 50s, it is like somebody totally different.
Oh, for sure. Like, whoo, I am so different. And maybe that's why I needed those experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Because, now you truly know I really did taste, if it was 52 different kind of ice creams, I tasted them, okay? Like,
Yeah.
you did it. And now who you can stand in now,
Yeah.
you don't doubt it.
Mm-mm. Yeah. You're right. Right. So that has helped to shape me more than I ever even think about.
Yeah.
It helps me to stand in, this is who I am, just to be more authentically me.
Yes.
A lot of things help shape that. But, I would say those experiences did as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that's why I think I tell people within reason, I mean, we're not
Yeah, that's why when you said that, I was like,
within reason, not
Mhm.
like, within reason for sure.
Yeah.
But don't, I think for me, I was just very glove, like white gloves at the 20s. Like I was in, it's like, girl, you gonna get to your white glove phase. I promise you. You you gonna get to that point to
Hmm.
where, and then you're gonna be comfortable in it because
Yeah.
it's gonna be you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't have to put the white gloves on yet.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
you you can put your toe in the water a little bit
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and not be afraid. And I think it could go one or two ways when you like when we were talking about with that support, because sometimes when you have the support and they, and this is where I struggle with Kaden, and even now because she's in that adolescent, preteen, teenage phase. um we're here for her,
Mm-hmm.
but she's doing all kinds of things and we like, but this is the first part of the identity. This is where it starts.
Exactly. It's gonna happen. The thing is, it really goes back to what the Bible says: train up a child in the way in which they should go, right?
Yeah.
So if you know that you are doing and showing her and teaching her, give her a little room, right, to explore. And then, you may have to reel her back in a little bit, but give her room to explore, because that's where she's at in her life. It's an exploration time period.
It is. It
And
truly is.
that's harder on the parent than it is on the child,
It
Yeah,
is.
on the parents. It's like, how do I do this? Especially if you've never been taught that, or you've never really had that experience where I had a parent who let me explore or was there as that safe zone.
The safe zone. And I think that's like you're saying, this is a scary place for us
Mhm.
because like you're saying, it was easy for you to do it because at that point you had been kicked out of church, you wouldn't talk to your parents. So you didn't have anything there to make you feel bad about what you was doing.
Buffer. It was like,
No,
hey,
no.
if I didn't want to do it, I had a choice. I had a either you do this, you do this, you could do whatever you wanted to do, basically. Because I had to answer to me. I didn't have a parent to be there and be like, I know this is what you want to do. Let's talk this through, right? Does that make sense to you? I love you and I want you to choose the best route. And I'm not going to make the decision for you. I'm going to let you,
Perfect.
you know?
That's how, and then you as the parent have to step back and truly be okay with whatever decision that they make.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, anything outside of that can be controlling and judgmental.
And then it could cause them to go the other way.
Yeah.
They may do it anyway. I was very rebellious. Like they tell me I was the one who um I think I was 16 when I got my last whooping. And my dad was like, look, you're gonna get whooped until you cry.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And then finally I think my mother came and said, oh, he's gonna whoop you until you cry, so you better cry. Somebody came. I don't remember who it was. She might have been the one told him to do it. That's probably what it was, right? Somebody said he's gonna whoop you until you cry. So I just pretended like I, was crying.
Okay. If that's what it takes for you to stop.
Yeah. But I was
Be-
so out of that space in my head, I was like, I really don't care. I'm over it.
And I think that that's, yeah. So that's definitely a line that, and I think that this, even when I found out I was pregnant with a daughter, this is something that I have been fearing since I had her. This right here.
Well, see, now that's why it's happening. Because anything you fear is gonna come upon you. So continue to get more wisdom in that area, right? And I think that you're gonna have to just really continue to um what would you tell your other parents, right? Think about that. What would you say to
Mm-hmm.
them? And then you live it,
Yeah.
because you wouldn't tell them to have fear, when she does such and such, such, such. No, you
You need
know
to be so afraid. You need to be so afraid.
right. You would give them great words of inspiration and encouragement. And so just trust yourself, right? I really think raise her the way that the Bible tells you to raise her. And we don't get all instructions on how to do it, right? It just says train them up in this way. But some of that You just got to trust that, hey, I'm going to take my hands off of it a little bit and I'm going to talk. I'm going to listen. You
Ooh,
know, yeah, I'm going to talk and I'm going to listen. Listen more than talking. Right. And I want to really hear where she is. And then I'm going to hide. And after that, guess what? At the end of the day, she still can decide. I don't care what y'all say. She still can decide that, hey, I'm going to do this, this, or that.
yeah. Absolutely. That's what we going through right now with the little boy.
There you see. So, yeah. But I think you're going through this because this is a part of y'all's ministry. This is, I mean, you think kids around you for just to be around you?
No, I definitely do. Especially after James and I did the podcast on Sunday.
Hmm. Hmm.
He got off of it and he was so different. Like a light came on to him.
Hmm.
And so I do think that being around married people, engaged people, children, like all of that, that's us all day.
Hmm.
And it's taken a minute for us to finally get to this point. But I will tell you, I remember when James and I were probably 27. Yeah. I told him, I said, I don't know, babe, but I got a strong feeling that our ministry is going to be standing up in front of married people.
Not better.
Standing up in front of married people and talking to them about their lives.
Hmm.
Like I didn't even see, when I tell you, Tony, I didn't even see it then, like how I didn't know how it was going to happen.
Hmm.
I didn't know, at that point, I was trying to figure out my own marriage and my own life and all of that. And so today, for all that stuff to just truly come full circle, Sunday was a full circle moment.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah.
really was.
Hmm. Yeah, you spoke it into existence. That was already what God had in the plans for y'all, you know? So yeah, I think the whole parenting thing is another piece of it.
Oh yeah. It's
Yeah.
marriage and parenting.
Yeah.
Like it's both of them. It's not just I can't to me you can't have one without the other for us. Like
Mm.
that's for us we can't talk about
Where
marriage.
you are in your life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We for us I can't talk about marriage and not talk about parenting.
Hmm.
Because right now I'm doing both.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And for me, I don't have to talk about parenting because mine grown. But I still think that it's good though, even as grown children, because they're still parenting. Trust me, I still parent.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and yeah, 24 and 32. I still parent. But it's different.
Yeah.
Parenting is totally different. It's guiding. It's more
Yeah.
it's more okay, I see what's coming. You ain't gonna listen to me, but okay, you know, and then you
Yeah.
come back and okay, well, let's talk about it, right? Because I ain't gonna say I told you so, but what did you learn?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, but at that age, they can really, really come, especially if you've laid that foundation to make them feel safe. At that point, they can really, really come to you and be like, "Yeah, like let's have a conversation about this," and they don't feel like you're going to judge them. That is the one thing that I think I've said a couple of times tonight: judgment,
Mhm.
control, and judgment.
Mhm.
Those are two things that I never want Kaden to feel because I know the trauma that comes from that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Judgment, control, both of those. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And you have to get to a point to where you realize that. And I like it might be some other things because like we were talking about, rejection and abandonment come out of that.
And just imagine to have rejection, abandonment, control, judgment. That's a whole lot to manage.
It is, and
Yeah.
that's why I can't. And that's why I was trying to ask you before. What is that? How do you even learn that? But like we are saying, it is rooted in your surroundings, your environment, what you're around. If you're constantly around people who are like that, church, home, school, then that's what you pick up. You pick
Mm-hmm.
up that judgmental, controlling personality,
Mm-hmm.
and then you don't realize what happens as a result of that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't realize that because I'm controlling and judgmental, I shut down the pathways for people to feel safe.
Mm-hmm.
And then now they feel rejected and ostracized and abandoned. And when you feel like that, it's really hard for you to come up out of that hole.
Yeah, is the reason why I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that God created me to be a therapist, because of all the rejection, abandonment, judgment, control, all of that I went through. I had to learn how not to do that with other people.
Definitely. And that's where I am. I'm in that phase now to where that right there will not be my story. Not for my daughter, not for anybody. My
Mm-hmm.
husband, not for people outside of me. That has to stop being my story.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be. In order for you to serve other people and serve them well,
Whew.
you have to let that go.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And that, I mean, I know that that's the way that God works on me a lot, because he's like, how can you judge somebody else, right? You didn't like it when it happened to you. So me being a therapist helps mold me a lot of times. Get me right on together. Oh yeah, who are you to judge? You didn't like it when it was done to you. So don't do that to somebody else.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. I think when you're a parent, I think it's harder though, because you almost feel the pressure of, oh my gosh, if I don't give them some type of guidance, like I can't just sit up here and say, okay, well, if that's what you want to do, because you are the parent.
Mm-hmm.
You are the parent. So I think that that's where I struggle. Okay. I can't just tell Katie, YOLO.
Right. Right. No.
But if I say something to you, do you feel judged?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not being allowed to do what you want to do.
Mm-hmm. Well, that I don't. I mean, she may feel that way, but if you say something, you're saying it. As long as she knows it's out of love, she may not like it, but I'm saying it out of love because some of the experiences that I may have had, right? Or I see things that you can't see. Wisdom says, guess what? I've lived twice your age plus, right? So there's some things that I know that you don't know. So you ain't gonna always like it. They're not gonna like it. But at the same time, guess what? I'm still gonna say what I need to say. Now, at the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
whatever decision you choose, there's gonna be a consequence for it.
I love what you said when you said the difference between control and basically guidance is when you know how to have that open dialogue. It's not just one sided. It's not just, you can say, I don't feel comfortable with this decision that you're moving. I don't feel comfortable with the path that you're going down,
Mm.
but you can't stop the conversation there.
Right, right. Yes, because then it becomes control. So you had me think of my ex. And so he comes across very controlling. And so then both my kids don't really, Lord have mercy. I just got to put it out there. They don't really like talking to him because it's controlling, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I try to come from a perspective of listening. Okay, I'm hearing you out. Why do you want to do that? Why do you feel like, just having more compassion? So they want to talk to me more than they do him. I mean, if you're going to
Mm-hmm.
be judged or if it's controlled there, I'm grown. The reality is I'm grown. Like I'm coming to you and sorry. I'm coming to you and I don't have to, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm grown, but I'm coming to you because you're my parent. I still value you. But when the person doesn't value or hold on one second.
Okay.
Yeah, I got so much going on over here. This
It's
this
okay.
battery
It's
right here
temporary.
about the We're gonna get off in a second anyway.
Yeah, because we had an hour and 14 minutes, and you know us.
Exactly. But yeah, you can't that judgy thing, especially with grown. They may be your kids, but grown adults, no, you're gonna push them away.
And I just like when you were saying that, what I think that you can't look at it. I think a lot of times people say don't judge me. I feel like I'm being judged, but really, you said the key thing. It doesn't come off judgmental. How it comes off is controlling. Like the way you're talking is
Yeah,
controlling, but then the person feels judged because you're coming off as controlling.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I've always been like, what does judging even sound like? What is it? And so, therefore, if you don't know what that sounds like, you can't pinpoint it, then you can't fix it. But
Mm,
I do know what control sounds like.
exactly. Right.
It's cutting you off. It's not letting you speak. It's saying this is it. It's my way or the highway. It's all these things. And then the next thing you know, the person is like, they feel judged. They feel less than.
Mm-hmm. Like their opinion doesn't matter. You're not even being heard because you're being controlling. So it's like what I have to say, this is the way.
This is the only thing that matters.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
So I
what's
never
yeah,
realized
yeah.
how closely connected those two were.
Yeah. I
Hmm.
haven't either until we just talked through it, but it makes so much sense. And then, like you just said, that person feels like they don't matter. So what does that end up making them feel? Alone by
Hmm.
themselves.
Hmm. Hmm. Yep.
And so now I don't want to talk to you anymore.
I sure don't. Who wants that? Why is this bunching up? Okay. Yeah. Who wants that? It was bothering me. Yeah. No, that's not a comfortable place to be in.
No. So that's really good. That's a really good insight there. So I won't worry about so much, am I judging people, more than I'm going to worry about, how am I talking to this person? Do I
Hmm.
sound controlling? Am I giving them an opportunity? Hey, boo. Am
Hmm.
I giving them an opportunity to speak and to be heard and to voice their concerns and their opinions?
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
who was it? Myron Golden, I think, when he was talking about like everything. Hi. Like everything is a seed, everything, um, everything you do is being planted in some type of way, right? And so it's going to have a consequence one way or the other. So, if for me, keeping that in mind, how I treat other people, right?
Ooh,
Like that's going to come back. How, what does the Bible say? Treat people the way you want to be treated. So that's the goal. If I don't want to be judged, if I don't want to be controlled, don't do it to somebody else.
that's such a break free moment right there.
It's heavy, right? It's heavy because it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
When you really got to walk in it, right? When you're really being faced with it, you know. But I mean, it makes so much sense.
So much sense. Like I feel like I need to draw a diagram after we get off the phone. Like, because it correlates a lot. And it's that, I've been working on those root causes lately. The
Okay.
cl- all these things, like I've been really trying to find the root of things. And this is all making so much sense.
Yeah, that's good to get to the root because then you can pluck it up, right? If I pull off the piece and it looks like, oh, look like you got it, you already know it's coming back.
Mhm.
It's because I did a whole live on that. I did on what are they called? Weeds. If
Yes, you did.
Yeah,
You
if you don't
did.
pull that all the way up, baby, it's gonna come back with a vengeance.
Worse.
Yeah. So that's good that you're getting to the root.
Because it just keeps getting more and more out of control if you don't get to the root of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this was great.
It was.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We never know when we're gonna go.
We just
get on here.
go all around the world. Yeah, and then it comes back,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always good conversation.
Yes, it is. It is.
Yeah. With this is week 2. With no alcohol.
That's true. Yeah.
And we still doing just having these good conversations.
Well, yeah, I think the alcohol would make it be even, it may go somewhere else, but
It's even more spicy then.
it is more spicy. Yeah, exactly. But it's good conversation. I think it's conversation that people need to hear.
Yeah.
They may not want to sit for an hour and 20 minutes, but it worked for me.
It works for me. And guess what? There's a certain audience that's going to work for them too.
Bam. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll be back next Wednesday. You all.
Yes, we will be.
Mm-hmm.
I look forward to this time.
Yeah, I do too. I don't know. I was thinking, should we have a topic or should we just talk? And I kind of like just talking because it leads to different places. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's kind of controlled. And we just talked about that control. I don't like that control, right? Because I'm saying it's friends talking. It's us being candid. We can go wherever we.
Hello, old people.
Yeah. So no privacy whatsoever.
Hey, Tyrone.
They said, hey, Tyrone. Oh, Lord. So, anywho, yeah, we'll be back next Wednesday.
Yes. Go ahead. What you cooking tonight?
I don't know, because I don't think nothing was taken out.
Oh.
It was supposed to be salmon pizza.
Salmon pizza?
No. Salmon, rice, and corn. That's what we were supposed to have.
Oh. I had salmon tonight. I'm having salmon tonight.
You got no water? What are you talking about?
You know what I did? I went to a vegan place today because that's a whole nother. We talk about
Let's
that.
go. Let's go.
We be on here. We be on here for another 30 minutes.
Yes, we will be.
Okay. Well, I'll see you next Wednesday.
Just call me.
Well, we got to connect our schedules because our schedule's been different.
Tomorrow, I'm free now. So if you get some time, call me tomorrow, girl. If not, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. Okay. All right, y'all. Well, thank y'all for coming on. That was Pour It Out, where we meet every Wednesday and we have candid conversation. 2 friends just talking, going wherever the conversation leads. Just really trying to model to you all that it's possible, right? And that's a topic because I was going to go into friendship and how women but we're not going to go there. So, yeah. We'll see you all next week. All right.
Bye, y'all.
Bye-bye.